Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, I do not have a breakup story to share with you from a viewer or a fan of the show. I actually have a book, and I reference a lot of books. A lot of my knowledge comes from books, and I use Audible quite a bit, which is audio format, audio books, and you can take notes through Audible. So that's what I generally technically do not read them per se. I listen to them, but I do read a lot too. I obviously have a lot of books, but this particular book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, right? At first you're like, how to fail, and I think this is pertinent to being in a breakup and being in a relationship that failed, or multiple relationships and failed. And this guy more or less is talking about his own life. Scott Adams, the author, is actually the creative mind or inventor of Dilbert, the comic strip. Now, full disclosure, I know of Dilbert. I'm not per se a fan. I don't really check out comics. That's not my thing. But if you like Dilbert, cool. And if you like the idea of me reviewing a book and unpacking something like this, let me know in the comments and I'll continue to do it. So, or if there's a book you'd like me to review. I know there's a couple out there that other people have asked. So let's just get into this. So how to fail at almost everything and still win big. So he talks about his failures in his life. He talks about different things. But I'm going to just go over 5 main things and see how we can use these if we're in a breakup. So one of the big things he talks about is systems versus goals. And what he means is, and this is more or less in a business standpoint, but it can be used in a breakup. So a lot of times we're focused on goals, okay? So for example, I want to be a millionaire. Well, get more specific. I want to be worth $3 million in 2 years, writing 4 books about love and breakups. Just an example, right? But if instead of focusing just on that goal, if you will, if I come up with a system where I say every day for the next 2 years, I'm going to write 2 pages of my book. And if I write 2 pages of my book every day, that's 60 pages a month. 60 pages a month after 3 months, well, 6 times 3, that's 180 pages. That's damn near a book, right? So he's saying focus on the systems. And when I used to be in residential real estate in California, they would tell you focus on the activities and not the results. So, this was 10 years ago or 12 years ago, we would send out mail, we would send out reports about what the market was doing, you would do open houses and things like this that didn't produce instant results, but over time, let's say you did 3 or 4 open houses, you might get one client that's looking to buy a home and really likes your approach, and then they work with you. But every open house, are you going to get 3 or 4 new clients? Probably not. So I understand it from that standpoint, but if you're dealing with a breakup, the way we could transfer this over into no contact, right? What happens is everyone's goal is to get their ex back. If you can release the idea of getting your ex back and your goal is just to get through the day of not contacting them, then you can find a routine or a system to help you do that. So, for example, I've told people this before. One of the things about the system part is creating a new routine or a new venture or a new idea or a new hobby that you haven't done before, because you are in change mode when you are broken up. And this idea that your goal would be to get your ex back is wrong. Your goal should be to get yourself back to feeling good again before you were even with your ex, getting in a confident, independent mindset where you can accomplish things that you put your mind to outside of getting your ex back. The difference is when you getting an ex back, you don't have full control over, because that's another human being with other ideals and other values, but you can get yourself back. You can rewire your brain, okay? That's absolutely true. And if you do that with system and habits, that would be great. So one thing I used to do when I was in no contact in my breakup, and I'd instantly feel that mouse wheel running and wanting to contact her and feeling like everything went wrong and I did this wrong, I should have done this, oh, what a great relationship we had, oh, if we got back together, this would happen, and if she came back, or if I got her back, do I really want her back? It was such a bad relationship. Stop! I would just feel myself like, fuck, What's wrong with you? I'd get my running shoes, and I wasn't even a runner at the time. I'd get my pair of running shoes, I'd lace them up, I'd get my headphones in. I had an, what do they call that, iPod, one of the original little ones. And as soon as I put music in, I felt a little bit better. As soon as I got outside and got to the park, and I would even go in the rain, I'd wrap up that iPod. And as soon as I got in a running mode, I would just feel fucking better. And so if that trigger came up, I would get my ass out of the house, and I would go for a run. Sometimes I'd walk part of the way, and I would just go for 30, 40, 50 minutes. Now, if I wanted to create a system out of that, I would say every morning at 8 a.m., I'm going to go for a run, listen to some music, and then perhaps journal afterwards about some of my thoughts. And the thing is, you work out your thoughts, and you work out your worries and your problems almost like meditation when you go on a run or a walk. I can't... If you talk about some of the great minds and in the past and people like Carl Jung or Winston Churchill, leaders, and a lot of them took walks. Charles Darwin, I believe, did. And this is when they would do their thinking, and they would chew on a problem. And if you're going to think about your breakup while you're taking a walk or going on a jog, it really helps. It's not as pressure-filled, because the music helps too. Listen to some really nice music while you're doing it, whatever you prefer that gets you in a good mood. So that would be something I would incorporate in one of your systems when you're in no contact. Some kind of exercise, and don't be afraid to do something that's alone, like running or jogging, that you can do anytime. There's not a lot of reasons unless you live in an extremely cold climate, right? That would be tough. So in your system, you should include some sort of exercise. I'm saying that one because it worked for me, running or jogging, and it's cheap and it's available at any given moment. So another system you can have in, that he talks about this also, is affirmations and writing them out. I, Mac McCarthy, will be an author, a New York Times best-selling author. I, Mac McCarthy. You could say it again and again. You could say it in the car. You could write it down. And he says, look, when I first found out about this, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's the law of attraction. I'm not saying it's fucking magic. He goes, but I did it, and it worked. And then I did it again, and it worked. And I did it again, and it worked. And what he says he believes it is it just reestablishes focus. So I don't want you to say, I, Mac McCarthy, will get my ex back by July 15th. No, you need to set the type of things in play that you can just focus and work on that are attainable. The thing is about your breakup, I can't stress this enough, you don't have control over their feelings, values, and identity. You can attempt to charm them or persuade them, but most of the time when you've contacted me, you've already tried the pity card, you've already said sorry, you've already went through those things and have been rejected. And at that point, you need to get yourself off the mat and get yourself into a strategic mind mode of solution base on how you're going to move forward with your life as an individual. And getting some systems in place. I'll give you one more example. This is very popular in the self-improvement community. They use it all the time. Everyone knows who Seinfeld is, right? So Seinfeld, some early comic asked him, he said, hey, what advice do you give me? He goes, get yourself a giant calendar and write a joke every single day and put a big red X on the calendar. Write a full bit or a joke, a bit as they say in the comedy world. And he goes, every day do one and do not miss a fucking day. Seems small, right? He has 360 jokes by the end of the year, and it gets him in that mindset every single day. Seinfeld also do transcendental meditation. A lot of successful people do this. He does it every day for 30 minutes to an hour to get his mind straight. He incorporated this in his life. So some of the things that come up in self-improvement and over and over again are meditation, exercise, eating well, getting your rest. And these are things that you need to create a system that you want to follow. And sometimes when I'm helping people in a coaching session, we can reestablish that and find ways to make time. So system versus goals. So in your particular case, it's not about getting your ex back. It's about getting you back. And in getting yourself back, you got to look at maybe what's the best place you were at in the past. Or if you're looking forward to the future, who do you really want to be in the future? Not goal-wise. I want to get healthier. I want to do this. And then create some systems where you create daily habits that are going to elevate you to that level. Okay? Number 2, he talks about deciding versus wishing. This is huge if you've been in a relationship or a breakup, because a lot of times you're sitting around, I just wish she would call me. I just told her the door's wide open anytime she wants to come back, and I'm hoping and I'm wishing. Hoping and wishing, It's not really proactive. It's disappointing when it doesn't work. It's blameful. And yeah, it's not a good place to be in, period. So deciding is actually saying, you know what? Right now, today, not deciding I'm going to get my ex back, because that's a setup for failure, because those aren't things that you can guarantee yourself. But you could guarantee yourself with hard work that I'm going to get a six-pack a set of abs in the next 3 months if I work my ass off in the gym. You can decide to do that. You can look up information on that. You can change your diet, and you can focus on it, and you can get that. That's real. You can decide that you want to move to Thailand and live on the beach. That's something I did out of my breakup. I said, you know what? I got nothing to fucking lose. Right now, I'm in a change in my life, and I want to live somewhere on a tropical beach for a year. And that movie, The Beach, with Leonardo DiCaprio, I said, wow, that's where I want to live. And I just decided. I didn't say, oh, I hope I get an opportunity. And then once I made the decision, I started saving some money. I started doing some research. I said, okay, I want to live here. Some contacts appeared that live in Thailand through some back channels of friends and family. And it just all came together because I made a decision. I'm going to go there no matter what. And then whatever happens along the way, well, that's just a bonus too. But I'm focused on it. One thing you can decide to do, I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to pursue that job I've always wanted. I always wanted to be a teacher. I was always in sales. I said I've always wanted to teach. I've always wanted to teach at the university level. And I made a decision. I'm going to go to Thailand, and I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm going to teach at the university level, and I've done it. And it took me going, I'm doing that. Literally, I'd tell friends, hey, I'm going over there. And they said, really? Serious? Yeah, okay, whatever, Mac. Yeah, sure. I mean, I lived in Bay Area, California. It's a nice place. Why would I want to leave? I said, I made the decision. I'm going. Okay? That's what the power of university or the military. I'm not suggesting you do these things or that they're things you have to do, but you do need to sign up and commit. You need to pay a fee for college. You need to sign on a form for the military, and you need to commit and make a decision. I'm doing this. It's not very easy to back out of those decisions, and that's why a lot of people finish those, and they're quite proud once they're done, right? So what I'm saying is, and if you're just wishing, like, oh, I wish I could go there, you're going to be stuck in that mode for a long time. So start finding the things, and it sounds. When you decide on something, I guess you can decide on a goal. That's fine, but combine it with a system. But decide, I'm going to be a New York Times best-selling author. I'm going to have a podcast that is on daily with a female co-host talking about breakups. It's going to happen, and I'm working on it right now. Decide. Don't keep telling people, oh, yeah, I wish this happened. That's whining. That's complaining. It's not a good way to do it. So make a decision. And this is what he says in the steps. Find out what it is you want, okay? Make it specific. For him, it was, I'm going to be a cartoonist. He's always liked drawing since he was a little kid. And he said, that's my goal. What's the price you're going to pay? You're going to create a system where you actually draw cartoons every single day for 2 hours and then pay that price. So that someone might say, well, how does he get to the point? Well, he started, he decided, and he put the work in, right? Okay. Next step, he talks about knowing a schedule or a habit or a routine. He said every day at 6:20 a.m. on Saturdays, you can find me in my office doing cartoons. I made that decision a long time ago, and I never waver. I stick with it. Now, how does this apply to breaking up? Now, breaking up, sometimes you got these blocks of time that you used to spend with your ex. You need to create new routines and habits where you're filling in those times with new events, hanging out with friends, and you need to do it regularly. So I've said this before, people that watch my channel, because I mentioned some of these things more than once, but I used to see my ex at 8 o'clock or 8:30 p.m. We'd watch TV, talk about our day. That was a really tough time when we broke up because the room felt empty. This is the time. So I immediately changed my gym schedule, joined a 24-hour fitness, went and played basketball for 2 hours during that time where I used to play during the day. And it filled that time. It created a void. It created a different routine, and it helped me through the breakup and no contact. So that's just an example. Be proactive with that. Create a schedule and a routine to counter things. And really, when you're in a breakup, you have a great opportunity to change your schedule and routine to suit whatever you're pursuing, right? To pursue what you really want. So another thing he mentions is moist robots, and he basically saying that habits and routines can be programmed, right? But when he comes back to again and again and again and again, just like I do, the number one thing for you in your life is to get good exercise, to get rest, and to eat healthy. Do you have to do those at a level of 95 percentile? No. That would be an Olympic athlete. But you should be doing them in the 80 percentile. You should be eating healthy 80% of the time. You should be exercising, if you don't need to exercise every day, but I would say 5 to 6 days a week. And exercise does not need to be weightlifting. It could be a walk in the park every day for 40 minutes, okay? But you need to exercise. You need to get your rest. This creates more happiness and relaxation overall. And they're all intertwined, right? Healthy food relates to better results in exercise, which exercise relates in better sleep, okay? And don't be afraid to be the first. If a problem comes up and your problem, in your case, if you're coming to my channel, is about breakups, and someone says, "Oh, all women are this, all women are that," or "No one ever comes," I'm gonna be the person that comes out of this breakup bigger, badder, and better than ever. It's a little self-talk, all right? I'm going to overcome this. And find some people in your life, like myself, other people that have overcome breakups, and tell yourself, I can get out of this. I can get through this. I can be the first one in my family to not be divorced by 25, right? I mean, there's so many people in my extended family that have been divorced or had bad relationships, and sometimes they try to, well, that's just how it is. I don't know if that's how it is. Breakup's an opportunity to educate yourself on having better relationships in the future and accepting the fact that relationships can go wrong and it's not always your fault. It's a time to grow, it's a time to learn, and it's painful, but it could be some of the best lessons you ever do learn. So the book was How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. Those are some of the big ideas from the book. There's obviously more. I took quite a few more notes. And one thing I do when I take notes with Audible is I try to create questions in my own life that reflect some of these things. What do I want to decide on right now? What kind of system do I want to create in my own life to better this channel and better the website and service people better in their breakup needs, dare I say, right? So I hope that helps you. Please visit writemac.com if you got a breakup story or if you'd like me to review a book for you. So, thank you for supporting the channel.